Welcome to the Bodcast, episode 11. In this episode, it is just the three of us, and we're going to be talking all about our training and nutrition strategies. We thought this would be a great time to talk about it as each of us are doing something different. We're also going to discuss how you can train around minor injuries and niggles. And if we get time, because I know we often get carried away, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of TRT and maybe get into veggie protein sources. So let's dive right in. Andy is eating the most enormous bowl you've ever seen of. Well, now we can show it. Yeah, you can see like the size of his head. Bulking bowl.
Yeah, lots of vegetables.
If we get Buddha bowls, we go for bulking bowls.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can tell when it's off season and when it's prep, because when you're cutting, you reduce the size of your bowl.
Yeah.
You get the smallest spoon.
I use teaspoon. Yeah.
Like when you're in bulking, it's like serving bowls and dishes with almost a ladle to just shove it in.
Like I think in the household, you've got your sort of bulking wardrobe, and then in the kitchen, you've got your sort of bulking cutlery and crockery. So Andy, why don't we start with you then with the with your bulking?
Yeah, so just bulking up at the moment. So calories are relatively high, not too high, over 3,000. They'll probably go up, I think, this week, because although I hit over 200 pounds this week.
Yes, got that. Congrats.
Yeah, finally.
It's been going up and down. Like, morning weight this morning was actually really quite low. And I can only put that down to the amount of exercise I was doing yesterday trying to catch kittens up a roof. Yeah. So, I spent hours going up and down ladders, climbing across roofs. So like this morning, I woke up, I was, 197.6. So quite a significant drop. But so we'll see. Yeah, but I often drop weight on the weekend as well because I get more sleep. So I always have a lay in on a Saturday and Sunday. And I think I always wake up, let the dogs out and go back to bed. And I think that always has a benefit to the amount of things like water I carry. Because I always wake up lighter on a Sunday and a Monday because of just getting a bit more sleep, a bit more rest and recovery. Although I train on both days, but just, I'm not having to rush around so much. So
just less inflammation.
That's really interesting, though. I can't say I've noticed that for myself, but that is.
No, I like to have those lay-ins on a weekend, purely for that reason, because I always have to get up at the same time during the week. Yeah. So, I get as much sleep as I can, which is normally over 7 hours of actual sleep. But on a weekend, I try to push that to like 9 hours if I can.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, it just shows again how important sleep is. And I mean, there is evidence right in front of you.
Yeah.
So, and generally, looking to just keep that weight driving up, whilst trying to maintain performance in the gym. Because, as I say to my clients, everything should be based around your gym performance, really. Because if you're not training properly, you cannot, you're not going to grow. And you're not going to maintain muscle as you cut as well. So, we're just going to push calories up. And if digestion starts getting affected and I'm not feeling so good when I'm training, we'll probably bring it down again for a little bit. But we're near the top end of my bulking. We haven't got a set figure, but we're going to probably push a little bit more. I don't know. We may, see what Ollie says this week, but, we may end up pushing up and over Christmas. Mm-hmm. But it's when it's like, laws of diminishing returns. It's like, do we have a mini cut before Christmas to go into bulking over Christmas and get a slightly better response because, by improving immune system sensitivity? So, that's kind of where we are, because as you keep pushing calories, although I'm not on high carbs because of, we try to keep my blood glucose in check. So, most of the carbs around the training window. Although some people say 200 grams of rice for 4 of my meals is relatively high. That's like, 800 grams of rice a day. But
that's good. Yeah, almost a kilo a day.
But that's relatively low to what I could be doing. Like, fats are relatively high. As I said, a tablespoon of olive oil on my meal. Because what I do is remove all the fat off the fillet as much as I can. And then I would rather pull it back as an essential oil, essential fat. So that, so that's kind of where we are, trying to push, keep progressing the weights in the gym, keep just trying to drive calories slightly up and keep, pushing. But yeah.
And how many training sessions do you do a week?
What am I on now? 5, 2 rest days. So what's my current split? It's let's think about this. We switched it round to trick my brain a little bit. So start of a week is, so first 2 sessions is upper lower, then rest, then push pull legs. So I just finished legs today. Tomorrow's a rest day. I always have Monday as a rest day because it's my busiest work day. And then so I have a rest day on a Monday, with setup. So works great really. But keep working. With gym at home makes it a little bit easier. I tend to train first thing in the morning at the moment, which is good and bad depending on who you are, because I always tell clients I'd rather them train after at least having 2 meals. But it's one of those things I don't, because it's just timing. It's when can I get my a session in and maximize my productivity for the day. And it is first thing in the morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I can get the most done. And yes, I'll have before I start, I have a pre-workout, some EAAs, some simple carbs in my pre-workout, and during training some EAAs. But then after training, quickly stick back a protein shake and some simple cyclic dextrin. And then I will make sure my meals are all cooked, and then I'll eat probably a little while after that, my first meal. So.
Yeah, and like when you've bulked before, what's the highest your calories have got to?
What they are at the moment was like 3,100, but we're probably gonna get up to about. Try to think what we were last year. Actually, we may have been 3,500. But that's where we finish up the bulk really.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can, maybe a little bit north of 3,500 this time around.
Yeah.
Every time you want to, push your weight up, you want to try and reach a higher number on calories, so you can always start from a higher place to cut. But that takes time as well, like everything.
Yeah, of course. And it's always a hard one. It's like, like you said, do you do a mini cut now and then bulk over Christmas, or decision?
That's the plan, man.
Well, that leads us nicely into mini cuts. And this is your first.
Yeah, pretty much. I've always done it very old school bodybuilding, very, how do we call it? Like meathead bodybuilding, raw old school. I'm either bulking or I'm either prepping for a show. So this time I'm trying to do it different. So I'm doing a mini cut for the first time because, it'll be my longest off season. So there is no way I'm going to be in a surplus for 2.5 years or so. So
how's your appetite? How's your appetite at the moment? How was your appetite for mini cut?
I'm enjoying eating less, to be honest. Like this next week, I'm feeling like on rest days, because my carbs are lower, because I do on training days, carbs are higher, rest days, carbs are lower. So on rest days, I'm very like, could this day be over already? Because my fats are higher, but I'm feeling, I can feel the lesser energy during the day. But mindset wise, I'm just like, it feels nice to be hungry and just eat less. And put the bulking
I
bowl.
think that's one of the important things about a mini cut is once your appetite starts going, you get into that thing of, the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
If you're struggling to finish food, are you going to cause yourself digestive distress, trying to force feed yourself? Sometimes a mini cut is ideal for just getting your appetite back.
Yeah, because because I'd get nauseated once I finished like eating, and I knew it was more, just digestive stress, and I needed a break, like mentally, physically, even just the organs, all that food for
All
what is
the
it?
organs.
Yeah, for it's been 10 months,
Yeah.
10 months of because I started at about 3.6 calories, finished the bulk at maybe 5.1 somewhere there, then went into
That's a lot.
maintenance. Yeah, so did maintenance for a while, then now I'm into mini cut. So it's perfect. By the time December starts, holidays, I'll just be in a place where I'm ready to start
Yeah.
back up again.
So how long are you planning on mini cutting for?
I'll do 5 weeks because I did a deload week last week, and then I'm starting my new cycle tomorrow. Push-pull legs, rotational push-pull legs. So it'll be perfect because now by the time I end the cycle, this rotation, sorry, to the next mesocycle, it'll be the end of the mini cut. So I can go
Yeah,
back
which is
to
good.
maintenance. Yeah.
5 weeks is not a bad time. I think some people mini cut too long, as in
Yeah,
anything over 8 weeks isn't really a mini cut. It's
I
just
think
like
Yeah,
even eight
that's a
weeks is
cut.
long.
That's a
8 weeks. This should be a maximum, really. You don't want really much more than 8.
Yeah. Because if you are mini cutting, the nature of a mini cut is it is aggressive.
It is, yeah.
You're getting in, you're getting out. It's got a very sort of specific purpose. And I just don't think you can carry on that level of aggressiveness for 8 weeks. I mean, when I did mine, it was 4.
Yeah.
I think 4 weeks is a good time. If you're going to do longer, like 5 weeks is a good time. If you're going to start doing longer than 6 weeks, you probably will need to start break,
Yeah.
midway. Because the only reason you would have it longer is maybe due to health issues.
Yeah.
Like as in your insulin sensitivity hasn't returned as quickly as you would hope.
Yeah.
Your blood, so you're tracking your blood glucose and it's still on the higher side, so you want to start seeing that come down. So that's why I see people can do it for longer, but if you're going to do it for like an 8 week one, you're probably going to have
Bad break.
a maintenance period, a week maybe in the middle, just
Yeah. I was going to go for 4, but started it on deload, so I decided
I think 5
5
is
is, yeah.
5 is good. And I mean, with mini cuts, you can take the calories from food and exercise. So
Yeah.
when I did mine, I think I got 700 from food and 300 from exercise or something like that. So
Yeah.
you can really ramp up
Yeah.
your steps and cardio. And again, because it's short, you're not you shouldn't lose any muscle.
Yeah, it's quick. You're
which
in
is
and you're
which
out.
is good. If you're still training hard as well. They're hard.
Yeah, because
They're very
mine,
hard.
I'm off 1,000 calories or off food. So the
Yeah, but
first,
you're coming from like 4.
yeah,
So
the first 3 days,
percentage-wise, it's not that bad.
the first 3 days,
Don't feel too sorry for him.
yeah, I was putting oats, and I'm like, this is it. Like, goodness, I'm used to just pouring. And yeah, so
You should hear him complaining now. He's like, "Oh, I'm hungry. I really wanted this. It's been 1 week." He's like, "Oh, diet brain." I'm like, 1 week?
yeah, I have to.
it's an excuse. But at least the peanut butter's probably safe in the house for a bit now.
Oh, geez.
The jar might last for a couple of days.
Yes.
We'll be saving a few
Thank
from
goodness.
food.
He was eating how much? 60 grams a day? More.
68, 70. But depending on how much, like olive oil I'd used to cook, I'd do 70. And some days I go up to 90 grams of.
It's great. Our budget is so good now for shopping.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep him on this mini cut for a while.
Yeah,
Save up for Christmas.
no, it is nice because even the potatoes I can only really increase on training days because my carbs are just so low on rest days. If I take like potatoes or rice, it's done. It's the carbs are.
yeah.
So but it's interesting. It's learning because this is my first mini cut. I've never, because it's always been I'm bulking, and then if I feel I'm tired of the bulk, just not really mini cut, but I reduce the food, and then I'll start over again when I feel ready. So
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
yeah, so
But
this,
it's good to be in Christmas, really.
Yeah.
I think it's just to be in a good place to start enjoying the Christmas food, but actually using it.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no, mini cuts, if you've done your research, they can be such a useful tool as part of a longer bulking season. But definitely do your research on them and don't abuse them, and be prepared because they are very hard. It is aggressive. You can go hard. You can even do a 50% reduction in your calories if you can.
And if you've been tracking really, if you know
You need to be aware
your
of.
calories and
Yeah.
you put up, yeah. Because I guess for me it'd be nice because I have another long year ahead. So because after the podcast we did with Ollie, I decided he's patient doing his 3-year bulk, so there's no rush to do a show soon. So
Yeah, it's all those things.
2022.
I would say you're better off just seeing where you end up and then make a decision.
Yeah.
And if you need a tissue, just spend another year. Because you benefit more now where you've got, where you're doing it, you're in that frame of mind, than trying to bounce back, put a little bit on.
And then and then I guess with the flights, and you never know what happens with Corona, so there's no
Exactly.
can't start prepping and then you're told the show is cancelled. I think that I've seen some of the athletes we follow and what it can do to you mentally, so no rush at all.
No,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so now you're switching your training from upper lower to push-pull legs. Why?
So, the past, say, 1 year, I've been very big on, JP, high intensity training by JP. So I've been following a lot of his principles. So been doing upper lower since Jan. We started with DeFranco. So according to JP, he says when like the numbers start stagnating, you feel like you're not recovering enough, then maybe you just need to increase the sleeps in between sessions. And best way to do that is now break it down whereby the upper, now we'll have push-pull, each has its day, then I'll do a rest, then have a leg day, then rest, and then repeat the process. That's why it's rotational.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rest days just follow the plan. And that way I get one extra sleep before I hit body part again. So it just means more time to recover. I can start bringing my numbers up again. And, I can keep intensity as high as possible. And I can, because I did upper lower 10 months before, I feel like now I'm at a plateau. So now with the push-pull legs, I can do the same push until where the same thing happens, where there's a plateau. And the option is to bro split or go back to upper lower. But like we said, bro split or rather pro split is, for when you're at the level where you're bringing up certain body parts. So after that, probably go to a full body training or upper lower. So no rush to get back into the like bro split sort of training. So
it's good that you've got like more rest in as well.
Yeah.
In my current schedule, I do have the ability to add a rest day if I need it. So we've got a floating rest day. If I need it and I feel tired, we just slide it in somewhere. The program just adjusts around it. But yeah, I think, especially when you've been pushing for a long time, it can be but you need a bit more rest because you're maxed out. Your CNS is getting maxed out.
Yeah, and I think you're of a size and a proportion that, and you've trained long enough, push-pull legs, it does work
Yeah, and then
well for you.
like the one Andy's doing.
Yeah.
After, I guess, I guess as I transition back to upper lower, it's just as easy as doing the push-pull legs, and then add the 2 extra days of upper lower. So I guess
Yeah.
no rush.
Yeah, I like yours, Andy.
Yeah,
that's an interesting split.
very.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally do it the other way around. We normally do push, pull, legs, rest, upper, lower, rest.
Because you still get.
It's nice. It's just nice to have a bit of a mix.
Yeah, and you still get enough time to recover in between both leg days and push and pull. Yeah. And you?
Well, I am.
Just been following your cut update on Instagram.
Oh,
and
is that where you get your updates?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have to go to Instagram.
We'll just ask her. Just check on the story.
I have to be supportive. I have to watch the story.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well,
and I remember last week she was ranting about how her weight has stagnated. So I have to, check the stories and know how to approach later.
Yeah,
so my head is not chopped off. But so I guess your weight hit a new low.
Yeah, no, yesterday. No, so this is week 9. Sorry.
Water.
This is week 9 of the deficit, and I had I'd done 2 calorie drops, and when I dropped it the first time, I lost like 1 kilo overnight. I was like, oh no, this is too fast. But then my body it adapted so quickly to those new calories. I was like, oh no, because I'm very efficient normally. So I thought, oh, the good times are over now. And I mean, I'm still on 1,800 calories, which for someone my size is, it's pretty decent. But I was really starting to struggle and get really hungry. And my weight was plateauing again, but it did drop yesterday. But I'm still doing a diet break because it has been 9 weeks. And I don't do cheat meals, whatever you call it, a flexible diet. But I generally, most of the time, prefer more healthful options. But I was really feeling the need for this diet break. So I brought my calories back up to 2,200. A lot. The protein will stay the same, maybe even a bit lower. So a huge increase in carbs. And that will be a week. And it's a deload week as well. So I was debating that because my activity now is going to be a lot lower, but it's okay. I thought I just have a full on recovery week. Yeah. I'll still keep my steps up. And I think that will just rejuvenate me for my next training phase. And when I go back into deficit, I will probably knock off only 50 calories because I was still losing on the 1,800, even if it was slow, but that's okay. My body does respond quickly, but I've been really happy how it's going. And yeah, just starting now to see sort of changes, which is always motivational. And yeah, so training is 5 days a week. I quite like your split, Andy. I'm really thinking about that one now. I like it because I've really missed, just having a push day or just having a pull day because my upper body day is everything. I mean, one will focus more on push, one will focus more on pull, but still, and especially now that we have our Bumblebee machine, we can do a lot more pull work. It's a bit, otherwise, if you just have barbells or free weights, it's a little bit limiting. So I might edit my nice. Training to do that because I can't do 3 leg days. I did that earlier in the year and that was on a surplus and I died. Unless the 3rd day is low volume, but I'd rather push it hard for 2 days. Whereas upper body I can recover from.
Leg days are brutal.
I always think the easiest one to recover from is a push day.
Yeah.
Let's just probably start with push because I always find pull super taxing.
It is.
So if I ever need extra rest there, it'd be after a pull session before legs, because it's actually probably better to do rest, pull, push legs rather than push pull.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes, especially if you've got in your pulls some spinal loading, you can be taxed by the time you get into a leg session. So maybe that's one option for you to do: pull, push, legs.
Yeah.
And have an upper lower.
Yeah. I generally start with legs, but
legs, push pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
exactly. Split their legs and pull apart.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do that. I love planning these.
No, exactly. It's always fun.
Should have seen me.
I love programming.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy the deload because I was just thinking, can it be next week? Like,
well, that's because you haven't used the machine.
Yeah, and because of how you have to stick to the exercises you've been on. So the machine is there. I've been doing like maybe for triceps, the close grip presses. So I touch a rope, push down, and I'm like,
the kikoy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, it needs to end so I can just plan and choose the exercises I can use on the cable, because it's nice because it's plate loaded, so it's just limitless.
Yes.
Limitless loading, so it's good.
Oh, I can't wait to go and make my program.
She's already started.
Going back.
Sorry?
Going back a little bit to diet breaks, I was actually going back to diet breaks. I was listening to Lane Norton talk about diet breaks in general, and about a study that was done in Tasmania on the effectiveness of diet breaks. So what they did is they had two groups of obese people, and what they did was one had a 15-week.
Is this the Matador study?
The other had a the Matador study, yeah. So the Matador study. So where they had 2 weeks of diet, the other group did it for 30 weeks, but we had 2 weeks of diet and 2 weeks of diet break. And they lost the same amount of weight overall, but the ones with a diet break retained more lean mass. Which is nice, which I think is quite useful if you've been bulking to put on mass to have diet breaks. I think the people listening should also understand with diet breaks, if you are losing weight because of a health concern and obesity, you don't need to worry about losing lean body mass. Just lose the weight, get yourself healthy. Again, if your goal is only to lose weight, then it also doesn't matter. But if your goal is because body recomposition and retaining muscle, and you've been bulking to add muscle, diet breaks are super useful when you're trying to get yourself back to a set point to try and keep as much lean muscle as possible. There you go. See, the Matador study, indeed.
Yeah, the Matador study is good. And then there's another one by Bill Campbell. And that's where you do 2 back-to-back days of refeeding in carbs.
Yeah.
And I mean, still in the week, you're in a deficit.
Yeah.
And the overall weekly calories will be a deficit, but you just increase your carbs on 2 days back-to-back. And that they did a study in resistance trained individuals, and it did show that they retained even more lean body mass. So that's that, it was still early days, and there could be many more factors that you could put in there, such as, does it have to be back-to-back refeeding days, things like that. But I thought that was interesting, and I tried that at the beginning of my cut, but I'm just someone who has to eat the same every day.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's about consistency and what you can do. For me, it was too hard to just try and increase carbs on 2 days. I'm a creature of habit.
I have to do like rest days separate and
but you
training days.
Carb cycle.
Yeah.
You're good at carb cycling.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
You'd frozen.
We were just you're frozen again.
Yeah, we're just saying how I enjoy carb cycling, but Clea is very good, Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's
linear approach.
Oh, now everyone is going to see. Andy, now everyone is going to see.
Everyone's going to see the picture we talk about.
We should have frozen it. And
No,
corporate mugshot.
That's our thumbnail for the video.
It's just like
Yeah.
Leon is good at carb cycling. I keep my carbs the same. And at the end of the day, what matters most is what you can stick to.
Do you carb cycle?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have done. I enjoy carb cycling generally. Right now, firstly, because we're keeping carbs low anyway, we're not. We're more likely to have a refeed day when needed, if I'm cutting or bulking, it doesn't matter. With clients, I tend to always, or have done more, especially more recently, cut carbs on non-training days.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously energy output's not the same on the rest day. So you're better off, if someone's going to cut, actually just reduce those calories as a whole. So we have less calories on the rest day, higher calories on a working day to aid with actual training.
Yeah.
So, I'm a big fan of carb cycling. I'm actually a big fan of diet breaks as well, but I wouldn't do a 2-2. I don't think two weeks of dieting. I do think you need to get your head in the game a little bit. You start having breaks because, but some people work. It's all down to who you're working with because some people like, and I always say one of the things you send everyone a questionnaire and say fill that out, and one of them is there a non-negotiable thing you like to do every week? Some people do go out with their significant other on a Friday or Saturday and have high calories. As long as you know that at the beginning and they're not just sneaking it in and not telling you, you can plan the rest of the week to actually have those reduced calories. Because everyone forgets it's about the weekly expenditure. You don't have to, every day doesn't have to be the same. You can actually go hard for 4 days of the week, have 2 a little bit higher, go hard again, or vary it over the week as long as you're in a deficit across the whole week.
Exactly. And I think, it really does depend on the individual. Like I've had clients do 2 weeks dieting, 1 week diet break. I've done 3-1, full one. You've just got to see how it works, and you can plan it around, you going on a holiday or anything like that. Or so it's good to understand diet breaks, and especially if you are training, how to implement them. I mean, they're generally a week. You can do 2 weeks. I think if you go longer than 2, I think then or longer than 1, it's quite hard to get back into your deficit. And then it's also hard sometimes to go into a diet break because I hit my new low yesterday. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep pushing, and then that's where you really need either a coach or to have a good talking to with yourself. And you need to.
I was thinking the same.
I think diet breaks are good. Sorry, Leon. I was going to say, diet breaks are good. Try and time your deload. You're already getting your head around having a deload. You may as well go and go, all right, embrace recovery, have a bit more calories.
So it's going to be a good week. And I mean, it will be a bit difficult because inevitably, also some people, the scale hardly goes up. Again, Andy, in his sleep, you are generally less stressed. You've got food. So you're less inflamed. Most people, your weight won't go up that much. So it's, and again, it's not, you're not like putting on kilos of fat. A lot of it's going to just be water. So as soon as you go back into a deficit, you will lose all of that. And they're really important. And there's loads, Lane Norton, any of his, YouTube are really good at explaining how to go about diet breaks.
I guess it's good, like you said, sometimes this is where a coach comes in, like the way, like Clea said, where you've hit a new low and you're like, maybe let me just push.
Or you feel like you're a failure if you've got to take a diet break.
And it's the same with me. That's how I used to view like deload. You're like, I've just done a 180 squat. I've added 2 reps to it. Maybe just push for 190 next week. And then that's when it just goes down. And you forget you pushed hard and you keep pushing harder and you just, you're digging the hole deeper and deeper. So I guess
that's the thing is that people have to realize that, you've also got to be patient with all this stuff. be it like you've got to have breaks occasionally. And with a diet break, we're not talking about being in a calorie surplus. Going back to maintenance.
Yeah.
Sitting at maintenance.
Your
Weight
new
loss is
maintenance.
relatively happy.
Yeah. January won't be your old maintenance because you will have lost.
No.
Yeah.
It's a new one.
So you need to recalculate it. And I mean,
But here's the thing. So, it's a patience thing. It's like everything. You've got to be patient with your CNS. You've got to know that you're not going to hit PBs every single time you go into the gym. Because some days you're more tired. So, and it can be something like the first compound you did in the gym, really went for it, hitting new numbers. The rest of your lifts are now going to suffer because you actually, you drained your batteries. So, and I think the problem with too many people is there's this lack of patience. They see their numbers dropping one day or 1 week and go, oh no, it's all gone wrong. I'm just going to throw the towel in, or I'm going to, change it up. And actually, all we need is probably check the volume, make sure you've got enough calories in. And it could just be a case of, one, you're worrying about your numbers, so you're stressing yourself out. You're worrying about your weight loss and stressing yourself out. You're not getting enough sleep. Again, you're stressed. Cortisol will steal from you everything if it's too much of it. So it's just a case of, try to not overly think about, am I losing weight? Am I gaining weight? Am I hitting my numbers? Actually, just go with the flow, feel it out. If you get a couple of weeks where nothing's budging, then reevaluate. Don't, just because you've got 1 day or even 1 week, doesn't mean you hit your emergency eject button.
Yeah.
that's so important because I let myself plateau for 2 weeks before I drop my calories. And I think people are so quick, like you say, to press that button. They're like, oh, I haven't dropped weight in 3 days.
Yeah.
Better start slashing those calories or hitting the treadmill. Like you just need to wait it out because, I'd almost given up on myself again and then, weight drops. So it's like, you have to be very patient and track everything. So you've got all the details at your fingertips, or have a coach.
Yeah, tracking really, you just need that notebook. Track your meals, track your training, and you'll be able to just progress easily because you can go back and see where you started and where you're going.
Yeah. Well, shall we get into training around minor injuries? I think this is such a good topic because, well, Andy, you hurt your back. Well, it's your psoas. Why don't you go into that?
As we've discussed, I'm sure I've discussed on here before, I do have problems with tight psoas, especially in my left leg. It's always the same, I don't know if people know much about psoas. Connects to your spine, goes diagonally across your pelvis, attaches to your femur, right? So sort of diagonally across. So I've always noticed, like if I'm in the car for a long period of time, driving, it gets really tight, and actually the pain can be unbearable after a couple of hours of driving. And then the other things, when I wake up trying to get boxer shorts on or put my underwear on, first thing in the morning until it's loosened up is a nightmare. So, but digress a little bit. Obviously I was doing deadlifts. When was it? Last Saturday, and mid deadlift, I think I was pushing my weight. It was about 200 kgs, and I was on Met 10, and suddenly it was spasmed as I was getting weight up. So it's like bim the weight, drop the weight. I was like, ooh. Because it does feel like it's your back, but then it's actually, you realise it's to the side of your back. It's not actually your spine. The problem is if it pulls tight, it can pull your spine a little bit out of alignment. It can affect some discs. So you do have to be careful. Obviously I did finish my session, but I then had to change what I was doing. Anything spinal loaded, I stopped that day, and just non-spinal loaded back exercise because it was a pull day. And then the following week, when I was getting back to doing, I was back to upper, and then and then the pull that I had yesterday, anything spinal loaded, just lighten the load and just use it more of a mobility thing. And then, obviously I spoke to LTAF physio, I've got some stretches to do. I haven't been able to get to my Nairobi to have a proper session, but, start working, doing your mobility and working around it. But just because you have a niggle and even a slight injury doesn't mean you have to stop all training. You just got to be smart around what you're actually doing. And if you've got a coach, that's your coach's job to try and think about what you should do. And you should have that discussion and tell your coach if you've got an injury. But yeah, so you just need to be smart because, my psoas isn't affected at all when I'm doing, say, a lat pull down, or when I'm sitting down and I'm doing rows, or anything else. It's more affected when you're bracing hard, and your spinal loading, and you've got a hip hinge, because spine and hip go together. So I think too many people worry that we've got a niggle and we just stop training completely for a week. Then they get out of that sort of mindset and then worry about coming back. Obviously, certain injuries, serious injuries, yes, definitely stop training, have a rest. But there's a difference between an injury where there's sudden bruising, swelling, you can't move a certain joint, versus a slight niggle. A slight niggle, you just need to find out what's causing it, work with a physio around it, but also continue moving everything else. Because even sprains and strains, you're not meant to be incapacitated. If you twist your ankle, say, or pull a ligament, even if it's a partial tear, pull a ligament, you've got to keep moving to keep that blood flowing and stop it from, healing in a wrong position. You've got to use your muscle. So, I think that's quite a important one, and just looking at your training and changing it.
Yeah, and it's so easy to train around injuries, and I think keeping moving is the most important thing, because if you stop, you're generally just sitting all day, and that's going to make it worse. And I know that from personal experience. And a lot of the times you have to strengthen whatever it was that has been injured later down the line. And like if you've got a niggle on your lower body, you can still train upper body. Vice versa. If you've got knee problems, that's so common with clients. I'm like, no problem. They've been scared to train for months. And I'm like, it's fine. We can train around that, no problem, and just gradually strengthen it. There are always ways around it. Like Leon and I, we have problems with our lower back. You'll never see us doing barbell bent over rows, deadlifts with a barbell. We've just learned how our bodies work, how to work around it. We do chest supported rows, dumbbell deadlifts. Leon does stiff legs, that works for you. Trap bar deadlifts, trap bar squats. There are many, many ways, and everyone is so different. Our anatomies are very different. It's finding what works for you. And I think we always say this: don't be married to a certain exercise. Don't think that barbells are life. And if you don't do a barbell deadlift, squat, press, overhead press, bench, that you're not going to get any gains. You're just going to get injured. So that's where it's trial and error, finding what works for you.
Take time and just learn your body, I guess.
Learn your body, and I think also importantly, if you have a niggle when you're working out, don't push through it. It's so tempting, especially when you've got 2 reps left. You're like, I'm just gonna do it, and those last 2 reps could be what is the difference between a niggle and a full-on injury. So just stop, and like what Andy did, just lighten the load or move on to something else, and then readdress it. All right, get your kids to come with the Theragun.
Oh yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, I got my kids to Theragun the spine. But I think the knee's an important one, because I have some serious knee problems. But I've never stopped training. And when I had the second surgery in my other knee, when I destroyed the meniscus and ACL in that knee playing rugby, I went to see a consultant, and he was like, okay, this is what you've done. So that's what I've done on the other one as well. He was like, you've been playing rugby for, I think it was probably about 5 or 6 years. So I said, it's not really a problem. The torn meniscus is a problem rather than ACL, but it's because I worked on just keeping my hamstrings and quads as strong as I could. And I think too many people just stop exercising because they hurt their knees, and then the whole area gets weaker. Quads and hamstrings just get weaker, and that affects your knee more. It gets weaker.
Exactly. And I mean, it's hard. I think with any injury or niggle, it becomes a confidence thing and a fear thing. And yeah, the longer you don't train it, I think the more scared you are going to be to train it. And then it took a year for me to deadlift heavy again after I hurt my back. But yeah, you will get there. And yeah, don't stop training, and work with your physio as well. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into some testosterone. Testosterone replacement therapy. Pros and cons.
This is,
So, yeah, I brought this up because I was asked about it this week. And I'm actually generally pro people having TRT if they need it. And I think, it's a great thing. There's a lot of health benefits.
yeah.
But it's important for people to realize TRT is still steroid usage. And you shouldn't be going into it if you don't need to go into it for one. So, generally with TRT is, look, if you've got good levels of testosterone, you've got to realize by taking it, your body's going to start switching off natural testosterone production. And you will not be able to go back. Well, you may be able to, but generally when you're a bit older, once that Pandora's box is open, it's trying to close it again is not an easy feat. Because you're not a young guy who's going to bounce back. And we're talking guys in their 40s, late 40s. And the other thing with it is, like taking anything exogenous, is you've got to make sure your health markers are in place. Too many guys jump on TRT because they want to feel young and strong, and libido in check, and that's all great, and it's great for mental health, that side of things. But how is your liver function? How is your kidney function? What's your levels at? Because even TRT, if you've got, has to be processed by the body, right? Your body, your liver's going to use it, and it can elevate your LDL. And your cholesterol ratio can go up in the air, and you can have negative impact. If it's already high, you can further affect it. And then if you've got bad kidneys, your kidneys has to, go through and civil blood. And if it's already backed up and has problems, you're just compounding that. People think TRT is super safe. Great. It's only safe and great if you're healthy. And, having a little bit of TRT is going to help you in some other aspects, as in nutrition partitioning, anti-inflammation. It can help with those things, but only if you're starting in a healthy place, not in a place where you're on the back foot from the get-go, because you're only going to compound issues.
Yeah, and I think, you've got to do your research, and I think work with a good doctor. We've said that before. Don't just do it because you want to get huge gains.
Consult. You need to consult a specialist.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I was going to say a specialist.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of maybe other doctors out there that will say, yeah, you're fine. We'll give you a prescription. We don't actually know enough about it. And that's okay. A lot of doctors don't know everything, especially in their field, and it's great. But I think, you got to realize with TRT is, it's not the same as being on, loads of testosterone like a bodybuilder. You're not going to pile on load. It's going to be the same as, if you, depending on the dosage, you may only go up a tiny fraction, because, a proper doctor will prescribe you proper TRT. And that's not injections of 300, 250 mg of test E. It is like a cream you put on your hand. or a patch in small amounts that may only increase your natural testosterone by a tiny fraction. And that may be enough to stop you from being hypergonadial, and then so by improving your mood, your libido, your general health, but without the ability to build all this extra muscle. Or I see, guys, wanting to do it because they want to be like, I'm going to get in the gym, I'm going to do TRT, I'm going to rack on,
Back on the muscle.
body mass and lose body fat. It won't work like that because it's TRT. It's not, you're not, eating trenbolone sandwiches, which people shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But that's the point. It's not a substitute for a bodybuilder from having TRT. So, one, know what you're doing, speak to experts, get expert advice. Don't just watch YouTube channels and pick out the ones that support your position already.
Yeah, because I think people forget, just like everything in training, it is very individual to each individual, depending on like what you said, your genetic, if you have any underlying history, say in your family of certain condition, that way an expert will be able to advise what would work for you safely over the years. Because I think once you're, in let's say over 40 and you're on TRT, it's more so for health reasons than getting jacked. So you want to be able to do it safely till you're 90, 100, or whatever age life takes you. But to do it safely, you need to know your how do I say, like your numbers, your health markers, and that way they can be monitored over time.
Nothing more annoying than people going on YouTube and becoming experts on something so.
Well, no, but only choosing the videos that support their argument.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like, well, why are you researching if you've got a preconceived idea and you're only picking that out?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think this is true for HRT. I talk about TRT, but women as well, postmenopausal women on HRT. There's some horror stories out there of like, because they weren't healthy when they took it. I think, it's one of those things where if you feel like you need to go on HRT or TRT and you spoke to the doctor, great. But make sure, and a good doctor will say, make sure you're healthy before we start. Let's get your cholesterol down. Let's get your liver function up. Let's get your creatinine levels down in your kidneys. Let's get that in place before we start you exogenous hormones. Right? And then let's make sure your diet's on point. Because there's no point taking things from an unhealthy perspective. Let's make sure, let's get you healthy, then reassess and decide, actually, you're a prime candidate for HRT or you're a prime candidate for TRT. Let's do this. And that's proper TRT and HRT and not some guy down your gym saying you should do this. You should do a load of Winstrol because it's the same as T. Yeah.
Oh gosh. I don't think, have we found a doctor here yet that was being recommended?
I've heard a rumor, but I don't know. I heard a rumor that someone was willing to, but I actually don't, looking into that, it doesn't sound very ethical.
Yes.
Because the person isn't a prime candidate for TRT.
Yeah. Yes. So if anyone knows of a good doctor, do let us know. So that,
legit endocrinologist.
Good endocrinologists, I think, are gems, and it's it's so important to be able to recommend someone, and because right now we've not heard of anyone, and I think it's anytime you're playing with your health, make sure you're working with a trusted professional, for sure. Well, we're doing well today.
Yeah.
We have time to get into vegetarian protein sources.
Yeah.
You're hitting the tofu, Andy.
Oh yeah.
No, well, no.
Well,
Yeah, I don't mind some proteins. Tofu, yeah, in small doses. I don't mind actually tofu, but I can't eat lots of it. It's like,
yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually
same.
very high in fat. I remember when
Yeah.
I was going for it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be quite tricky to fit in to macros." Well, I hope everyone watched the protein series, vegetarian and vegan protein series that I did with Ashley, because that was, yeah, just to show you that it is possible to get in good protein, but you do need to do more research. And if you are tracking macros, yeah, it is a bit harder, because often the protein is combined with a lot of, high carb, or like tofu is quite high fat. So you do have to, yeah, sit down and plan a bit more.
It's like advanced tracking, you know,
Advanced tracking,
because
calculus.
ours is like yeah, it's advanced tracking.
especially for vegan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially for vegans, it is advanced tracking because it's not like you can supplement with a whey protein or say have eggs as your protein source. You're messing with incomplete proteins.
Yeah.
So therefore, you've got to be good with every meal, knowing how to make a complete protein per digestive meal to get the max. And it becomes harder in a bulk because you end up having to feed a vegan more, or strict, some vegetarians that don't want to have whey and stuff. And then they got to be understand that they're more likely put on some body fat with that because carbs are higher, fats are higher. But to get that lean muscle mass, you're gonna have to get a bit fluffier than say someone can just eat, a full complete protein.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's oh, we've said that so many times. Like, if you are going vegan, for health reasons, just take your time to think about it, because you are going to have to plan your food, even if you're not tracking, to make sure you're getting in a lot of nutrients that you just don't get from plants. So you have to be very careful, and I mean, it can be done. It really can. A lot of bodybuilders, not a lot, some, sorry, I shouldn't say a lot. There are vegan and vegetarian bodybuilders, but wow, food is getting high in the bulk. Volume is really high. Your fiber is.
I will say on that, there's no good vegan bodybuilders.
We need to note that research.
Yeah, I don't know any off the top of my head. It's hard. It's really hard, especially when well, even if you're now going into a super deficit, because if you're eating animal products, it's so easy to get just, super high protein, low fat, and low carb choices.
And complete.
And complete, exactly. Whereas if you're a vegan, that's going to be really hard. And I mean, even vegan protein powders, the protein content isn't as high generally as a normal way.
And a lot of vegan protein powders aren't necessarily completely full amino profiles in some of them.
Yeah.
If you get just a soy protein, it's not. If you get a pea protein, it's not. You get a hemp protein, it's not. You're going to have to start combining powders in that. Some of the newer ones are complete powders, which are okay, but normally they taste like some. Often they're not great, but you've got to understand that, if you got a hemp protein, that's not a complete protein source. So you're going to still have to add that protein powder in your meal with something else.
Yeah. So it's if you are going to be serious about building muscle as a vegan or vegetarian, you're going to have to sit down, do your advanced tracking, and make sure
calculus tracking,
and just make sure that you're getting in everything.
Because you'll be doing a lot of combinations of food to get the aminos that you need. Maybe
if it's for
sorry,
religious or ethical, it's great. Say, but if you're generally trying to do it for health, it's still not necessarily the healthiest option.
Maybe I'll do a challenge for 1 month and try see what it takes to become a vegetarian bodybuilder, and I'll give you feedback.
What kind of vegetarian?
What kinds are there? I'm like,
No.
like we need to talk on the side.
Well, let's
Yeah.
see how hardcore you want to go.
No, I'll try. It'll
Do
be
you want to be vegan?
no.
Lacto-ovo still
Yeah.
easy to do.
It
You
is
can
quite
have
hard.
eggs.
All you're taking out is...
I would do vegan, but I think vegetarian is because I can eat some foods that I still eat, but vegan, it means it's like I'm starting over. I need to,
Well, that's vegan is
yeah,
hard.
vegan I wouldn't
hard.
last a month, I know, but
But the
vegetarian,
amount that you would need to eat
yeah.
to hit
Yeah.
4,000 calories, you...
Oh, it's not even calories.
Day.
That's crazy. How much protein? So you say 1 pound of protein minimum per 1 gram of protein per pound of body.
Yeah, I'm on two.
It would be so hard. You would be...
Yeah, two, because I'm doing, let's say, 220 to 250. That's my minimum.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So if you only get 250 grams of protein as a vegan, you're probably going to be on about 7,000 calories. And try and get those down, yeah.
And
You know, because it's all going to be big. It's going to be vegetables and rice and
no,
beans and
I'll try the vegetarian one maybe
and
after Christmas.
because here
time.
you don't get... I know not all mycoprotein like corn is completely vegan, but that does help.
Yeah.
It'd
be interesting.
I'm not saying like all the fake stuff, because that's full of other stuff and not necessarily high protein, but you're be eating a lot of...
we'll try and just, I guess, understand what vegetarians have to go through. So it's all for fun. I'm not going
over
vegetarian.
lacto, you'd be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
You can still do Greek.
whey and eggs.
Yeah,
Eggs
but I'm
every
not
meal.
going vegetarian. It's an experiment before guys go. Yeah, so we'll try.
We
will try.
Wait,
It's
It's
royal we.
There's no we.
But yeah, we'll see.
Okay,
Yeah.
you are going vegetarian
Next year though, and
2021.
and you don't need to
No,
DM.
it's veganary.
Yeah, and you don't need to DM to remind me, or
No, you do.
I'll remember.
DM Neon.
Yeah, every day.
We'll make our protest. Neon goes vegan.
We're gonna pull it my reminder. 1st of January.
You'd be like, remember this
Vegetarian.
podcast, Leon, when you said.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that'll be too much volume of food, man. That'll be too much.
No.
But yeah, anyway.
No. Yeah, so just if you are vegetarian, vegan, as always, do your research. Make sure you're getting complete proteins and all the nutrients that you will have to take supplements, as you just don't get them in plants.
Yeah.
But we can all be more plant-based. That's for sure. I'm working on that. I try my best to get more plants in every meal and a variety of plants. Otherwise, I'm very bad at just eating
The same.
broccoli.
The same.
Think about adding pineapple to my rice, just because I think pineapple rice is edible.
Yeah.
It sounds
There it
very
goes. And I
festive.
like pineapple.
Yeah, on rice.
So I can mix it in,
Yeah, on rice.
put the meat on top. Extra carb sauce.
Yeah.
Not on pizza though.
It's got what? Isn't it got pineapple? It's bromelain or something.
Yes.
Bromelain, yeah.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammation, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
post-workout. Yeah, I do like pineapple. Okay.
In rice, we agree. On pizza, no.
No. But in
It's not
like
good.
post-workout,
Yeah, it would be.
I do like pineapple. All right. Well, as I
The chicken rice and pineapple meal. It sounds quite nice. You throw some other stuff like got very sort of a sweet and sour chicken thing going on.
Yeah. Actually,
oh, my diet break's gonna be so good.
yeah, I'll watch.
Yeah, he's on a cut now. I had my almond croissant
Yeah.
today.
Oh, your mini cut is like double Clea's diet break
It
in
is.
calories.
And but I guess that's the good thing with bulking, which guys don't understand. You get to start your cuts at very high calories, and
Yeah.
you can really eat a lot and you're still cutting. So I guess that's my plan for the next prep, where because I'm used to the suffering through prep, so it's just time to also help change the mindset. So it's all good.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As we said, let's prep at sort of 4,500 calories.
Oh man, that would be the dream.
Wow, nice, isn't it? Yeah, nice. Nice place to start. Really slowly.
Yeah.
Be a breeze.
Yeah.
We didn't have any sort of fatigue.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's all these things that we've talked about: mini cuts, diet breaks, bulking. They're all worth looking into and implementing. You know, depending on your goals, where you are. Now, having, as always, as we talk about, you know, a long-term plan, because all these fit into that long-term plan, and they're great tools. So I hope you found this useful and you can incorporate them. How to train around your injuries. Think twice about TRT and your doctors. Find a good one. And yeah, if you are veggie or vegan, just do your research, do your advanced macro tracking course.
Yeah.
No, you don't, but you just will have to plan a bit more to make sure you get in all that good protein.
Yeah.
So hope you've enjoyed this episode.
To ask us questions.
Yeah.
You just need to, ask questions. Don't be scared. In the comments here, ask some questions, or DM us on Instagram.
Yes, like
DM a podcast.
Yeah, DM us about if you're confused about mini cuts, if you want more info on how to do them,
Yeah.
diet breaks, how to implement them.
And yeah, we probably could do an episode on each of them, or just go in depth into
what each of them
Yeah, how to
constitute.
set them up.
Yeah, how you can set it up, and
Yeah, let us know if you think that would be useful for you.
yeah.
Right. Well, Andy's got to go and catch his kittens, and
more cardio.
he's gonna have lost 10 kilos by Monday.
More cardio. You don't need to do
I've
step.
got to also build a stable at some point. Just, you guys, if you want some cardio, come around here and help build a new stable for the pregnant donkey. A pregnant donkey, kittens on the roof.
Yeah.
It's stop.
You can usually make a series of
It's
what
good
goes
though.
on
You,
up there.
you get to keep your NEAT up without trying too hard. So
That's never
There you
been
go.
Andy's problem.
Yeah. Now this.
I'm trying to bulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're bulking, that's not great.
Oh yeah. True. It needs to be lower.
Actually, what is your step count, Andy, as you bulk?
You know what? I keep it. I try to keep it to 10,000. Often it's 12 to 14, which is a bit annoying. Like today, I don't know because my watch ran out of batteries early on this morning. I put it on charge and forgot to put it back on. So today's kind of a one-off. But yeah, it's one of those things where I find it easy to get 10,000. I find it very easy to get 12 to 14. If I was cutting, I find it easy to do 20,000 just by throwing in an extra dog walk in the morning.
Crazy.
So when I'm bulking, I worry about extra dog walk because dogs don't actually need because we've got the farm. But right now, as I said, the last couple of days I've been up, down ladders all over the show. So, it's probably a bit higher than it needs to be.
Yeah. Great. Well, good luck with getting the kitten off the roof. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.